Hey everybody, Adam here from Men to Watches. Welcome back to the channel. This week we got to sit with my good friend Ray while we checked out some of his watches he's interested in selling, and at the same time, Jordan was off on a little trip to try and buy us a really rare Rolex. Take a look. In the first part of this video, we got to sit down with an old friend of mine, Ray. Ray's been collecting for a very long time and really knows what he likes. It's a cool watch, Ray will buy it. We got to sit down, take a look at some of the watches he wanted to sell, and go through it with him. Let's take a look. Come on in. Have a seat, brother. How you been?
I'm well. How about you?
Before I see the watches, what are you wearing today?
This is my Boulevard redo.
Wait, hold on. I have one of these.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I really love this re-edition. The original Boulevard UDT is impossible to find. They made like 4 of them. And Adam Victor, who's a good friend of mine, he owns like 2 of the 4. And so he actually worked with Boulevard to like design this watch. And it's the only Boulevard Blancpain whatever reissue of the 50 Fathoms, and I know you love 50 Fathoms like I do, that like stayed true to form. Like it drives me crazy that Blancpain like can't make a accurate representation or accurate homage watch to the original 50 Fathoms. But I'm assuming you're selling some of this stuff because of your recent pickup?
Correct.
Congratulations.
Correct. Thank you so much.
Ray got a stunning TR Tornik Rayville, the holy grail of the Blancpain world. Blancpain 50 Fathoms made for the U.S. Navy.
Right.
So,
and it's very similar to this.
Very similar.
Very similar. I've compared them side by side. Very similar. They got the dimensions right.
All right. What do we got?
So we have some stuff that I bought on impulse, and you know me, stuff that is out of my range of collection. So it's time to move on from some of them.
Okay, let's open the first one.
Something like this that I bought in Germany sometime in the early 90s. And I never...
This is a total 90s watch.
And I never used it. So
what is this? Tell us about
that. Is a Coram Buckingham.
A Coram.
And it was a redo of a 1950s Coram that was known because Elvis Presley wore it.
Okay.
So that's all I know.
And it's still box papers.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've never really gotten into a lot of Coram stuff, but there is a lot of history there. Yeah. And I can imagine the mindset you were in the 1990s to wear this.
Maybe drugs. I don't know.
It's all very possible. And it's a typical 1990s box that like
fall apart.
They literally start falling, flaking as you open it.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
All right. Cool. I have no idea the market value of that watch.
Right. Me neither.
We'll figure it out.
So this
is a market for it?
Is there a market? Well,
so I see ZRC on the box, and so I'm assuming this is the reissue.
The reissue, as you know, I have original ZRC, and when these came out, I talked to them in France, and I bought it from them, but I never used it.
So the original ones are super cool watches, and I was actually very impressed with the reissue that they made. When did this come out? Like 2 years ago?
This is, I think, from 2018.
Oh, okay, so it's a few years earlier.
Yeah, so I actually prefer the reissue. It seems like better quality.
Really?
Superior quality.
So ZRC Grand Fonds was a dive watch. It was a French company that made a really interesting dive watch. The original one looks very similar to this, has a Bakelite bezel, has these kind of, what would you even call this? Like flexible like lug on one side that covers the crown, that protects the crown. Really cool watch. And if memory serves, the crown was at 12 on the... 12. Yeah, okay, so they made it at 6 on the reissue. I've never seen the reissue in person.
Oh,
so very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, like that, they did a really faithful...
They did. It's a little bit bigger.
The original.
And like I said, I think that the quality of the case is even better on these than on the original ones.
What was the retail price of this watch? You remember?
I think it was about 4,000 euros.
Okay. Not crazy. I mean, to get an original version, you're paying upwards of 10, you know, 10 to 15, depending on condition. You know, and they're super hard to find these days, especially in nice condition. The original one, not the reissue. Cool watch. But yeah, I assume if you have the original one, you're probably wearing that more often. You know?
Exactly. That's why I probably never wore that one.
Okay. We could sell it. We have next, I don't know which Unimatic this is, but blue with blue bezel. I actually went and visited them in Milan in April. Awesome guys, awesome workshop. They're making some really cool stuff, and at the price points they're selling them at, like they're doing such a great job.
Can't be beat.
Those guys are fantastic. If there's anybody else I'd want to support in the industry, like more than them, I can't think of it. Like they're such great guys. So this is a U1.
Yeah, this is an earlier one. This is, I guess it's like 4 or 5 years old.
It's cool.
And worn just a couple times.
I like that the blue bezel is like a matte color almost. Interesting. I've never seen
It's a great everyday watch.
No, we've sold a lot of these. I remember the first time we put one on our website, they were so excited, like that they
really
it to like dealers.
To the big time?
No, not to the big time, just to the resale market, So yeah, no, cool watch for sure. And I'm assuming you brought a couple of vintage pieces, right?
I did.
You did.
The rest are vintage, but trying to spare down the collection. Just not enough room.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pieces. Okay, so I know it's on a Mullican case. Shout out to Mullican, makes some amazing leather cases and straps. Oh, cool. We have vintage Breitling. We have a Super Ocean. We have a Yachting and a 765 Co-Pilot. Cool. Oh, there's more. But wait, there's more.
But wait.
We have a Mitchell dive watch.
That was basically an unknown, probably one of many of that type of watch where...
Yeah, there's a lot of different brands.
Different brands that made that.
What I do like about these in this style is that the loom on the dial is like these big...
That's why I bought it.
Yeah, and it's very similar to like the Eterna Contiquis in that sense.
Correct.
Correct. Very, very cool.
They're all from the same era.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. I don't know, maybe that's a $1,000 watch.
Right, for the price point to get like a vintage dive watch of this era with radium, it's very cool. These big, huge hands. What the heck is this? A Royce. Oh, okay.
Royce. So again, that's another one where they made a number similar style watches. That one, it just happens to be NOS. I never wore it.
Right. Interestingly, has similar case.
Similar case, right.
RC.
Right.
The Crown at 12 that has a swivel lug that protects it. Oh, this one's like new too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you truly never wore this one. I don't think anybody has.
No.
Interesting how the case is like concave on the back too.
Right.
Kind of like...
Well, it sits way above.
Yeah, look at that. It's not bad though, in terms of how it sits on the wrist. I guess because of the lugs and the way it wraps around your wrist.
So since lugs kind of bend in.
Right.
Makes it easy to wear.
Last but not least, 1601. Nice condition though. Look at that. Beautiful black dial. So I'm assuming like mid-late 60s. I can't see the serial. I'll have to take off the bracelet. But yeah, nice watch. Really nice one.
So interesting about these two watches. These were part of the Breitling Roadshow 2018.
Wait, what?
So I bought them from the guy that had lent them to Breitling.
When was that?
2018.
Is there any documentation for that?
I have the book.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we should use that as part of like the sales story.
Okay.
It's like the history of the watch because people are always asking you like, oh, well, who the past owner was, the history of the watch. And I'm like, unfortunately, when we buy watches, we don't get a Carfax with it. So it's just kind of a little bit of interesting history that if Breitling was able or was willing to use these watches as part of their roadshow and display, they looked at the watches and they thought they were good enough to make the grade. So this is a reference 2055 Super Ocean Yachting. Very typical. Wow, strong case. Look how sharp this case is. Wow. I think that crown might be... Oh, actually, so there you go. Snug right in there. And typical of this watch that the loom aged green, which is completely normal and completely typical for this watch. It makes it like a little more interesting, I think.
Absolutely.
Instead of like the yellow.
It's unique.
Everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Exactly. Looks really nice. Well, let me grab a loop. There we go. Yeah, really nice example. And part of the Breitling Roadshow. This we have a 7660 chronograph. Also very nice condition. Also green loom. Yeah, I think Breitling and Gallet were unique in that sense that like they had this tritium loom that went like green just very naturally, like straight like mint green, menta green.
Yeah, there you go. They were ahead of their time.
Ahead of their time. Yeah, looks like a nice example. And a watch we know well, Co-Pilot.
And that one has celebrity ownership. Mr. Enthusiast.
Oh, wow. Wow. The biggest celebrity, Phil Tillingham himself. Shout out to Phil. Great guy.
So big time celebrity.
Big time celebrity. Yeah, nice watches. Okay, so we will get to moving on selling them. I think we could help you out. Do me a favor, and if you can, look up any of the documents for the Breitling stuff and try to look up what you paid. I know you've had these for a while, but try to remember what you paid across the board,
Yeah, I'll look it up.
We will get to selling them.
I know you will.
So, yeah, but these are all cool watches. You've had such an eclectic collection over the years. Like, you've owned everything, whether it's watches or cars. Like you're a collector after my own heart. Like you've literally like run the gauntlet, whether it's like inexpensive, expensive, doesn't matter. Like if it's cool.
If it's cool, I like it. Yeah.
That's
if
awesome.
it's cool, I like it.
Awesome. Dude, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Appreciate it.
I hope you guys enjoyed that part. I wasn't kidding when I said if Ray thinks a watch is cool, he will certainly buy it, wear it, and enjoy it. And hopefully we can help him sell some of these amazing watches. So stay tuned. And if you're interested in any, please contact us directly. While I was sitting down with Ray looking at his watches, my right-hand man Jordan was off on a side mission to check out a really rare Rolex that we got a call about. Our good friends at Walt Grace Vintage were contacted by a client of theirs, an older gentleman looking to sell a reference 4768 Rolex triple date chronograph. Unfortunately, he couldn't send us any pictures, so Jordan just had to go up there and see it for himself. Let's take a look.
So ladies and gentlemen, doing something a little bit different today. We're actually here with my buddy Lenny. He's here to show us a watch that he might be interested in selling to us. I'm looking forward to checking it out, inspecting it for him, and kind of telling him if we want it or not. Do you mind giving me a little bit of a background? Oh wow, a box of watches.
There it is right there on top.
Some cool pocket watches.
Well, you
And
can see
another-
this one you'll absolutely fall in love with. 1897 Elgin in the original box.
Wow. So guys, come check this out. This is really, really cool. Some very, very old stuff, but some pretty cool stuff nonetheless.
This one is English. It's 1842. It's mint mark, and it still works. So key wine, key set.
That's incredible. A very nice collection, Lemon. Let's talk about our suspect here. Here we have a Rolex 4768, which is the first triple calendar chronograph made by Rolex, anti-magnetic.
We're about a 072C movement.
Lenny's done his homework.
I've had that watch for many years.
Do you mind telling me a little backstory about it?
I want pawn shops.
Okay.
Most pawn brokers don't know what the hell they have. It was missing all the hands when I saw it. And I looked at it and I said, what do you want for it? And he gave me prices, not too much. The hands are missing. We negotiated a price, I bought it. I then had a gentleman named Roland Clairvaux, a Haitian watchmaker, C23. Wonderful gentleman. He rebuilt it for me. Unfortunately, we didn't have the correct hand, so it just lied in the drawer for years. And then about maybe 15 years ago, I had Watchmakers International rebuild it for me. The top pusher fell out. I then took it over to Bach Jewelers, had a watchmaker who rebuilt it for me. Took him almost a year. And what he did, which really aggravated me, he replaced the original dial with an aftermarket dial. So I have in here the original dial somewhere. There's the original dial.
So, as our viewers know, and I'm sure you know, Len, it was very common practice when you were sending these watches to, let's say, Rolex, for them to replace the dial. Because they, in their minds, wanted you to have a new watch. Here you guys are. This is the original dial. Lenny, do you mind if I just crack open the case back?
Oh, go right in. This is my David Just, which I bought in 1963.
It's cool. What's cool about this one is the dial. If you can see, the lettering's kind of faded, so it has like a ghost effect. Very, very interesting. I see you were a veteran, so thank you for your service, sir. You're welcome. Do you mind if I call Adam? FaceTime real quick?
Oh, go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here with Lenny. He has the original dial.
All right, well, that's the important part. Is this steel watch or what is it?
No,
18K back.
Okay.
full gold. It could be yellow that's just turned a little bit, but to my eye, it
No,
looks right.
it's stamped 18K.
Is the original dial.
So this is the case back.
Okay, cool.
Let me take out the original dial.
Yeah, it's very, very worn.
Yeah, if you were as old as this, you'd be worn too.
I understand, sir.
That dial is 1943.
Yeah, I don't think this watch is going to be for us at that price point, unfortunately. Just the dials are too worn. The refinished dial is not useful for us, unfortunately.
No, not for us.
It would need to be cheaper, unfortunately. Like it's sad because it's a very rare watch, but when it's in that condition, it's difficult for collectors to wrap their heads around it. You know?
Yeah, fortunately, Lenny, in its current condition,
Oh, it's a dial.
I can't get to the asking number which you're asking for.
Well, the last one like it sold as Sotheby's, but it had box of papers, which I am leery of.
Right.
Who the hell keeps boxing papers for 80 some odd years?
Yeah, no, it's very, very rare. Very extreme.
It sold for 70. Right. I said, something's wrong. Right. No one keeps boxing papers that many years. Unless I bought it and they put it in the safe deposit box. I said, okay, I'm going to sell it 80 years from now.
Right.
They're not going to be alive.
And keeping the boxing papers wasn't common practice until, I would say, the 90s. So we specialize in vintage watches. This is definitely vintage, especially in the world of Rolex. You know, in this era, you mostly see the bubble back, oyster cases, very, very few, you know, calendar watches like the John Claude Keeley collection, which was this and another reference. The problem is that dial is in very, very rough shape. As a seller for these things, you know, collectors want as pristine as possible.
Sadly for us, we weren't able to come to a deal with this gentleman on his wristwatch, as the condition was not something that we really liked to put forward. Although it had the original dial with it, it wasn't in really good condition. It was really, really worn and weathered, and we just couldn't come to terms on a price. But we appreciate the gentleman showing it to us, and he was a really interesting guy with some really interesting pocket watches and other things that Jordan got to take a look at. Well, we had a really fun week of hunting for some watches and meeting with clients, some of which we're going to show you in our video next week. Really hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you like this content, please comment, like, and subscribe. Anything you can do to help grow the channel. And remember, everybody, it is not too late to enter our absolutely free giveaway of the Rolex Datejust, which we announced last week. We will link the video below. Again, the rules are very simple. All you need to do is be subscribed to the channel and comment on that last video of which it was your favorite watch of the watches we discussed in the video. When our subscribers count hits 10,000, we will go live on YouTube and announce a winner at random. There will not be an announcement before that, so if anybody messages you, unfortunately there are a lot of spammers in the comments of the last video, please do not engage with them. The winner will only be announced by us and only after we hit 10,000 subscribers. Please go and enter. It's absolutely free and costs nothing, and we wish everybody the best of luck. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.